So I appreciate Miss Onome for yesterday's session. It was amazing. I mean, it was good that we had that at the very beginning of this whole program because it is very fundamental and very basic that we get the overview of what purpose is about. What really interests me when people say, okay, purpose, vision, and all of these things, I like to get more practical because, like she even mentioned yesterday, there are a lot of books, there are a lot of teachings. People will say this one and that one, what tickles your fancy, what's that one thing that attracts you. You know, there are a lot of formulas, a lot of things that people will say to say, okay, this is what your purpose is in life. So whenever we have to have this kind of discussion, I always appreciate that we go really practical. So let's take steps. Let people discuss what stage of life they are in, and let's see, okay, how can we help you navigate through this process? And I think that we'll be doing a lot of that today. So I hope that we'll be actively involved and isn't just going to be me talking and talking and talking. So let's just get started. Apologies in advance for any interference that we might have during this session. So the Gracified team has given me okay, so the Gracified team has given me the topic goals and visions to talk about. And like I said, I would really want it to be interactive where everyone can really discuss and then we'll share knowledge together. I will be starting from the vision part because if we look at the broad picture, purpose, like we discussed yesterday, is the big brother, is the main picture because it is the overall of what you're trying to, not what you're trying to, overall of what you're called to be in life. And I appreciate how Miss Onome yesterday mentioned that your purpose is not something that just excites you, not just something that you enjoy. It is really what you are called to be. And I love how she stressed the fact that it is in God that you can actually be all that He has called you to be. Like a television would might be underutilized without reading the manual. I mean, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people generally are underutilizing a lot of their devices, either phones, televisions, or whatever, because we don't even take time to read the manuals. Because I think it was even when was that I discovered that my phone could do a lot more than what I was using it to do. So that really is the case for many of us. So our purpose is in God. If you're not perfectly or deeply rooted in God, you might find it very difficult to really get to know that purpose because He created you, so he knows why He has actually called you to be here on earth. So it is in Him you can get that. I'm just trying to do a recap of what we discussed yesterday. I would like one other person to share what they learned from yesterday's teaching so that because we'll be building on that. And I wouldn't want us to just be going back and forth. So can we have somebody just share what lesson they picked from yesterday before I go ahead? Anybody?
All right, let me share what I learned.
Okay. All right, thank you. Please go ahead.
Miss Onome said something. She said, stop waiting for a prophet. Or, yeah, she started like this. We Christians, we tend to be lazy these days, that we do not want to pray and seek the face of God and know what He really wants us to do. And then we are waiting for a prophet to, come and tell us, Grace, this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to open Grade Network. You're supposed to impact the lives of families. You're supposed to bring families together and stuff like that. No, we want somebody to come and tell us that. So we need to be more prayerful and we need to have an intimate relationship with God for us to be able to move smoothly on that journey of purpose. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Grace. I think what you learned is very profound and important because it is like you giving your life decision to the wind. All I say is when you are not intentional about seeking the face of God. So it's important that we actually keep that relationship with God so that from time to time we are aligned to what He wants us to do. That's amazing. Thank you very much for sharing. So today we're talking about goals and visions. Or in my own words, I'll say visions and goals, because purpose is the big picture, like we just discussed or re-emphasized. Vision for me comes next, then your goals. So we're just going to be sharing on those two parts. I would focus majorly on goals, because to me, those are like the practical and the immediate steps that we all can take. While vision is just a little above goals and below purpose. I hope we got that order. So let's talk about our vision. I don't know how many of us have heard of the book Hello Tomorrow by Cindy Trim. Anyone? Even if you've not read the book, have you heard about the book? Probably being mentioned or something. Hello Tomorrow by Cindy Trim. Anybody? Okay, so I will take it as none of us have heard of the book before. So Hello Tomorrow is a book by Cindy Trim. She's someone that DDK Debola Dejikoromi really loves to listen to or talk about. So I looked for the book, I got the book and I read it. The book is majorly about visions and building your own dream. So a lot of things I'm going to be sharing today are from what I've learned over time, from listening to people, my own personal experience, and what I read and learned from Hello Tomorrow. It's a book you can also check out for yourself. So what is our vision? So I would say that when you mention the word vision, two things will most likely come to your mind. A vision in the general sense, like we're discussing today, I mean, a projection of what you want to see in the future, or the vision that comes from like a flash, or that one that we say, okay, it's close to dreams. I don't know if you get the two types I'm talking about. Those are the two things that most likely come to your mind when you mention vision. But today we're going to be focusing on the projection into the future, which is in line with our purpose more. The other one also is in line because it shows, let's say more pictorially, or let's say more visibly, that which is in the mind of God for a particular time. So when we say vision, in Cindy Trim's word, a vision is a divine mental preview of coming attractions. Let me take that again. A vision is a divine mental preview of coming attractions. What does that mean? Your vision is what you're able to see today as a potential for tomorrow. Now, let's see what we discussed. Okay, so yesterday we said, okay, your purpose is the broad picture, the entirety of what you're called to be in your life. So let's say to be I'm trying to give you a picture that we're going to use entirely for everything we're going to be discussing today. I will come up with that later, much later. But let's just continue. I said a vision is a divine mental preview of your coming attraction. So your vision is what you're able to see as a potential for your tomorrow. A vision is for the future. A vision is not something that you already have today. No, it is your view or your projections of what can be tomorrow. Right? So I would like to say that when we mention vision, many of us expect that we would sleep, or not maybe sleep, we will just open our eyes and then we will see ourselves in a big mansion, and then you see yourself with a lot of money, you will see this and see that. Yes, that is possible. It can happen in the actual sense of it. But where vision really takes place is in the mind, is what is in the mind. And I appreciate that we have the mind guy here this morning as well. So the vision really takes place in the mind, not just in the eyes, because yes, sometimes people see things, that is fine, as long as you're sure, you aligns with the will of God, and you're sure that it's from God, not a bad vision. But most importantly, your vision occurs in your mind. So let's see, how does this thing become? How does this thing really work? I wouldn't say like I mentioned earlier. I don't like to give a formula or say this is how we should be for everybody, because we are humans and we're subject to our own human knowledge, human interferences from time to time. So vision is how you see yourself at a particular point in time, either say 10 years, 5 years, or 15 years, as the case may be. So while your purpose is the overall picture of your life, say at the end of your life, say, okay, when you're like 90 or 80 or 100, you can say, I have done this, I'm dying empty, I've achieved this. Amen. I'm Christian, so our perfect example, Jesus would say, when he finished, he said, or well, Paul said that he had run the race and he was sure that he had gotten to a particular point. Even Jesus was able to say that it is finished. I don't forget what I'm saying. And that is because they had the clear picture. They understood what they were doing, the race they were in for, and they could say that that is purpose. But at a particular point in time, you could say, okay, in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 15 years, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to look like. Are we getting that? That is what a vision is more about, your projection of the future. So when I say that, your vision begins from the mind, I would say that your vision is subject to what you put in your mind from time to time. So what that means is that your vision is subject to change in a way that you can get bigger as your mind gets bigger. So let's say for me, I was okay, in the next 5 years, I want to be a consultant in a let me say a big four. Let's say a big four. I want to be a management consultant in a big four company, big four firm rather. That is what I see. Okay, I want to do in the next 5 years. So let's say over time, my mind gets exposed. Probably I meet somebody. Let's say I meet TD Jakes or someone like that. We have a discussion for like 30 minutes. My mind is exposed, my mind is enlarged, my capacity is increased, such that I can realign my vision to the new capacity of my mind. I hope you get what I'm saying. So when we talk about vision, you need to know that it starts from your mind. So it is important that from time to time, you expose your mind to the kind of realities that you want to see yourself become. So you can't just say, okay, this is the vision that I have for my life. Yes. But if you notice, many of us are really undermining ourselves because our mind is at a very limited capacity, probably based on our experiences or people around you. Probably the most successful person in your immediate environment is just let's say a professor. Do you understand? Truth is, if you don't expose your mind to bigger things than that professor, your vision might just be limited to that which you see. Don't forget what I'm saying. So it is very important that even as we talk about vision, we're able to talk about our mind capacity so that we can be able to really, really align ourselves to that which we really we want to see. I would say something. It says, how far you're able to see in your future depends on the willingness and the discipline of your mind and spirit through the word of God. So I love that we started yesterday by talking about how the word of God shaping is where we can get our purpose. In the same line, the word of God is what will shaping your vision. So I know that we established yesterday that God has a plan for us. God has a reason why we created. He has said it in his word that I know the plans that I have towards you. So we have established the fact that God has a particular plan. In the same way, from time to time, the Father has what He wants you to achieve. Okay, so for by the next 10 years, God will be like, okay, I want Jola to be in this particular place. Then in the next 15 years, I want her to be in this particular place. So it is important that I don't just stay in line with God for a particular season and say, oh, I've gotten the picture. I'm called to be a consultant. I'm called to help people achieve their purpose, and that's it. No, it will take a consistent work with God per season because life is in stages, life is in phases. I forget what I'm saying. So from time to time, God is showing you what He wants you to do for a particular time. Everything, however, will still be in line with your general purpose. Is anybody getting what I'm saying? I want somebody to actually confirm that we are getting the picture that I'm trying to paint.
Yes, I'm getting it.
All right, thank you very much, Elizabeth. So that's what I'm saying. So there is a particular life is a stage. So from time to time, the Father shows you how or what He wants you to do. Then people begin to ask, how do I know? How do I hear God? It seems as if I'm not getting anything. I would say first off that many of those questions that we ask are coming from a place of anxiety. Because when you see people doing things, you're like, oh, what am I called to do? Meanwhile, God is even calling you to a place of peace and stillness. Because we have the Holy Spirit of God inside of us. That is our advantage. He aligns you to what the Father has in mind from time to time. The Bible says that What spirit knows best than a spirit that is in the heart of a man? So if the Holy Spirit is in the mind of God, and that same spirit is inside of you, He will align you to the Father's will from time to time, as you subject yourself, one, to the Word of God, and two, His leadings through different occurrences or people. Are you getting what I'm saying? So many times you just get really anxious, whereas God is even leading you in the little things that you've not paid attention to. Are you getting what I'm saying? So that is very important. So I'll say that how far you are able to see yourself in any let's say in 5 or 10 years time really depends on your willingness to discipline your mind and your spirit through the Word of God, and not just you being unnecessarily anxious, not just being unnecessarily anxious, but really relaxing your mind in the Word of God. And see, God is not a wicked father. I'd always say that, and He's not a God of confusion. So from time to time, it is His desire in Himself to even lead you. So it's not just about you wanting to know. He also wants to tell you. He also wants to lead you. He also wants you to know. Do you understand? Because many times we are really anxious as if no, God has abandoned you. He doesn't want you to know. He has left you clueless. No, God in Himself wants you to know. So He would keep aligning you. So the question is, are you even listening? Are you even getting it? I'll forget what I'm saying. So you identifying your vision is more about you being discerning and being interested, the discipline and the willingness to actually learn what God is saying through His word and what He shares to you by your own personal experiences or from people sharing things with you. So I think I've been able to draw a clear picture of our vision. I'll go ahead with our goals, and hopefully we're able to tie all of this together. From yesterday, we'll be able to establish the overall picture, which is our purpose. And in the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I've been able to share how our vision should tie with our purpose. It is your alignment to what the Lord or the Father is saying to you from time to time for a particular season of life or a particular time. And like I said before, your vision is tied to your mind capacity. You can only see based on what you know, really. You can't see beyond your mind. You can't see beyond your mind. If your mind is so little, you only see yourself as little. I heard of an interview that he had with some Nigerian children, and they asked them, "What do you want to be in life?" And it was funny that some of them were talking about being, let's say, I can't even imagine, maybe a bricklayer or something. That was all the child wanted to be in life. In as much as you can do that, you can achieve that in life, there's a bigger picture. Now, imagine if they take that same child to a Western world, take that child to another country. Let's say they take the child to the US, and the child lives there for 6 months. They'll see that over time, the child's mindset is open to other opportunities, other things that it can be. Even though the child wants to be a bricklayer, I cannot tell you that, no, I just want to be a bricklayer. I want to be a civil engineer. I want to be able to see bigger things. I just want to lay bricks. I want to be able to define structures. I forget what I'm saying. So it is very important that even as we desire vision and vision, train your mind, expose your mind by reading, by the resources that you expose yourself to. That is very, very important. So let's talk about goals. Okay, so we've said, okay, let's say, okay, you have, by your understanding, you sense that, okay, God is calling you that in the next 5 years, He wants you to build a community of, let's say, counselors, because I feel like we are going to be having a huge need for these people in the coming years, because with the way our generation is stressing mental health, we would really need a lot of those people. So I'm saying that if you sense in your spirit, by conviction from the Word of God or by your personal experiences or other things, that God is calling you to be a mental health practitioner or a counselor in the next 5 years, that is a vision for that time. That is what you see. That is who you see yourself to be. It now calls on you, or the onus now is on you to build yourself, to enlarge yourself, or to build yourself, position yourself for that time in terms of goals. So your goals are the individual bridges. Your goals are the bridges to your future. Your goals are the bridges to your vision. I forget what I'm saying. So that is how it comes down. That is the order: your purpose, your vision, then your goals. I said the goals are your bridges to that future. Let's paint a scenario. Let's use a football match for example. Let's say, okay, so for this particular, I know that they play in seasons. I'm not very good at football, but I know that they play in seasons. So let's say that for this particular season, let's say this footballer, I don't know, maybe Messi says, okay, this is in his mind, he has his own expectations, probably to break his own previous record or to probably score more goals. That is what he wants to see. Okay, at the end of this season, this is what I want to achieve. That is his vision for that time. He wouldn't just wake up and he has scored goals. He needs to divide it and say, okay, for this, if I'm going to be showing up at 5 matches, I should score at least 2 goals for each of these matches. Are we getting what I'm saying? Are we together? Are we getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, clearly.
If his vision is to be, okay, let's say the best player or the highest goal scorer for this season, that might be his vision for that time. He needs to now break it down and say, okay, if I'm going to be this person at the end of this season, I would need to do this and this and this and this. That is our goals. And like I said, it is one thing to come and aspire or share things with people and inspire them, but let's get practical. And this is where we get practical, and this is where I'm going to be spending more time as we, and this I'm going to be rounding up your goals. Your goals. When we talk about goals, these are little objectives or the breakdown of the things you want to achieve from time to time or part time, really. Like Grace introduced or mentioned while she was in my introduction, I have an initiative that is focused on helping people be their best selves from time to time. So we have a program that we run, the Go Getters program. And from my interaction with people over the seasons of that program that we've had, people really desire to achieve goals. People desire to see themselves get better. But after you do a review, you observe that a lot of people don't get to achieve these things because it is not just about you writing down things. Yeah, that reminds me. The Bible says we write down our vision. We're still going to get to that. Writing down these things. It's not just about you writing down what you want to see yourself or the goals you want to achieve. It takes much more than that. It takes discipline. It takes accountability. It takes a whole lot more that we're still going to discuss. But for now, let's focus on our goals. You have a vision already to be this particular person, which is subject to your mind's capacity, like we already established. So let's talk about goals. How do you set your goals? I'm sure that we've all heard about setting SMART goals. We've heard about setting SMART goals, which stands for having specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based goals. Now, these are things that we need to take into consideration when we are projecting where we want to be at a particular period of time. Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So our goals should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So you're not just going to say, okay, I want to be a doctor in 10 years, and you're studying law in the university. No, you already know that you are not in line because your goal is not relevant to the vision that you have. So we need to actually sit down with ourselves. So majority of things that we talk about here still boils down to your personal review. You need to sit down with yourself and ask yourself certain questions. What do I want to do in the next 3 months? I want to be a professional counselor. Okay, so what do I need to do? I need to take up a course. I need to pay for that course. I need to save up for the payment. You break it down. And this is how you do over and over and over per season of your life. So when we're talking about setting goals, specific, measurable, I've mentioned that already. These are things that we need to take into due consideration. And I think it's very important that we stress that today. Aside that, I'm still going to paint a scenario of goals, or I'm still going to ask 2 people to share practical examples of their vision for, let's say, the next 3 months, and we're going to look at how we can help narrow this down to goals and even getting it as achievable as into weeks and even days, depending on how much the person is willing to share. So it is important that we break down our goals into things that we can measure. Don't just set goals. Say that, okay, I want to I want to build a network of, let's say, 10 people. I want to network and have 10 new friends in the next new quarter. So how do you want to achieve that? I want to attend more seminars. I want to be more active on social media. Those are the things that you can measure and say that at the end of first week, I want to have 5 new friends. Don't just say I want to have friends. I want to have 5 new friends. Be able to attach figures and numbers to your goals. I think that's one part that people usually miss out. And at the end, it seems as if they've not achieved it. Attach figures and numbers. If it's about your financial goals, your financial goals, say, okay, I want to be able to save up to 500,000 at the end of this month or at the end of 3 months. You'll be able to break it down and say, okay, even 1 week, that means I'll be able to have like 200, and the next week 100, and like that, such that if you don't achieve it, you can be able to understand where the default is coming from. So I think it's also important that we note that, be able to tie figures and numbers to your goals. Now, we talked about purpose yesterday and we talked about vision. It is an overview of our lives. But in the real sense, our life is divided into different sectors. We are different spheres of life, rather. We have the spiritual, we have our physical, we have our mental, we have our academic/educational sphere of life. So in as much as you have a broad vision to be something, you need to be able to carry each sphere of life. You need to be able to put each sphere of life into consideration. If you want to be a medical doctor, you can't just focus on just your academics. No, you would also need to put in your mental, you need to put in your social life, build a network of doctor friends, make sure that your mental health is in good shape. And that is how it is. You build a 360-degree individual. Don't just focus on one part of your life. So when you are setting your goals and your vision, put everything into consideration. Your finances are very important and should also be taken into part. So like I said before, discipline is one thing. Accountability. If you're setting goals for yourself that you want to achieve, you need to set up systems and structures that keep you accountable. People set goals, people have visions, but only people who are able to discipline themselves, get right accountability, are able to achieve these things. Do we understand? Another thing, I've mentioned 2 things now: discipline, I've mentioned accountability partners. Choose people that are on the same race with you. Choose people that have the same vision. Don't just pick people anyhow. Oh, this person is my friend. No. Be intentional about the kind of people that you bring in your network as well. It is important. Get people who are seeing the same thing so that you can work together, encourage one another along the race of life. That's the second point. The third point I would say is regular reviews. Do regular reviews. You have a vision to be this particular person in 5 months or in 5 years, and you set specific goals. I need to save at least 5,000 every month. I need to register for an online course. I need to be more active on social media, add at least 5 followers every week. And you've broken it down into small goals. It is important that you do regular reviews. If not, you just wake up in 5 years and, my darling, you're already old. That's what I'm saying. Now you wake up in 10 years and you're already like, what? There are children on ground already. So it's important that you do regular reviews. You could do quarterly reviews, monthly review, biannual review, and annual review. Just break them so that you're able to keep yourself in check. And say, okay, this is what I've been able to achieve. Okay, I've not achieved this goal. Why haven't I done that? How can I get better? Don't just live your life to the wind. Don't throw caution to the wind when it comes to your life. It is your life and no one else understands it or can run it better than you. So it is important that you take your life seriously and you do regular reviews on those things that you set to achieve in your mind. That's the third thing. The fourth thing I would like to say is flexibility. A lot of us are very rigid. Oh, this is what I want to be in life and this is it. I would say this: there is no one way to achieve something. There's no one way to achieve something. So if I set in my mind, okay, in the next 10 years I want to be a management consultant in a big 4 firm, there are different ways I can get into that. Instead of me to now say, okay, I'm going to come in as a trainee or an analyst from the scratch, and they don't now accept me, and I start feeling bad and say, oh my God, I'm not going to be a management consultant ever in life. No, That is just one way that seems blocked. There are other ways. You can do other things for a particular season, say 3 years, then try again to enter an experience higher. Do you ever get what I'm saying? So that in the next 10 years, you are still able to achieve the same goals. But many of us are too rigid. This is how I want it to be done. I must travel out of this country in the next 2 years. If I'm not traveling, I'm not going to be an excellent person. No, you need to be very flexible because my dear people, my dear friends, life is flexible. I mean, life is not rigid because life is not up to just you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can set goals for yourself, but you need to know that you don't stay alone in life, and whatever thing you've planned is subject to other people around you, either your immediate family members or even things that are outside of your control. So, in as much as we've said, okay, this is what I want to do, be flexible enough. Your goalpost remains the same, but there are different strategies. I know that even a footballer knows that there are different strategies to get to a goalpost. So we need to be flexible in as much as we want to achieve our goals and achieve that big vision that we have in mind. That is the fourth point. The last point I'll be stressing today is don't be anxious. Life is in stages. I already established that a lot of us are anxious about purpose because you think other people are doing better than you. No, you can only and that might be true. They might be doing better than you, not because you are doing bad, but because they've been able to get their own picture and they are running with it. So the picture is not you just trying to the problem is not just you looking at other people. It is fine. You can look at other people and do an evaluation of yourself or your life's progress. That's okay. This is what I'm not doing well. This is how I can do it. But when you are looking at other people and you are getting unnecessarily anxious, that is where the problem is. Because you can't be the best in someone else's dream. You can only be second. If you try to copy someone else, you can only be second. You can never be first because it is only that person that understands that vision. So it is important that you do a self-evaluation of your own life, do a self-review, and understand your own vision and set your own goals. So life is in stages. Don't be anxious and just unnecessarily perturbed about what you want to achieve in life. Right? And I pray that God will help us in Jesus' name. That is what I want to share with us because I want us to get practical. So I would like at least one person to just share their projections or what they feel that they want to achieve in the next 3 months or 2 months, as the case may be. 3 months is another quarter. I know many of us have said, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. I don't know if I have anybody willing to share so that we all can look at that scenario and paint goals that we can build around it. Anybody?
I nominate Grace.
Why are you nominating Grace? We are nominating you. Grace, should you be nominated? Do you want to take this up?
Yeah, she should be nominated.
No, I don't understand. Why can't you? In fact, I feel like she will be the one to talk.
Yes, the
Say
mind guy.
what?
No, we are using you. Thank you for talking. So
Thank you for talking, Itunu.
yeah, so let's build a scenario around. No, it could be hypothetical, really. It could be hypothetical. So let's
I'm
just
not
draw.
understanding of this school. Okay.
No. Let me just share with us like your vision or your projection for the next 3 months. Just the general picture. I would not
For
like
the next
somebody
3 months.
else. Hold on, please. Then I would not like somebody else to now help us and say, okay, what are the individual goals that this person can set to achieve that overall picture? Do we get the exercise?
Yes.
It's really going to give us a broad picture for the
Yes.
next 3 months. Somebody else is going to now break it down into goals. So you can go ahead now.
Okay.
And I wanted to
For the
talk.
next 3 months. Oh yeah, now. Please have the floor.
Who is that? Who was that? Is it Friend Christy? Who spoke now?
Grace.
Grace.
Yes, because
Okay.
I actually want to. This is an opportunity for me. So in the
Okay,
next
Grace.
3 months, in fact, in the next 3 months, I will be starting a foundation, the Grace 5 Foundation, and it's going to be are going to go to the first place where we're going to go to. So I think that's what I'm looking at for the next 3 months. So yes, next person.
All right, thank you very much, Grace. So Grace says that in the next 3 months, she wants to build a foundation, the Gracified Foundation. Can I have somebody else? Okay, so what is the foundation going to be about so that it will be clearer to drill down? What's the foundation going to be about? I mean, the bits you are willing to share for now.
Okay, the foundation is just for young, teenagers, children between how will I put it? Let's just say children to the youth stage, orphanage, bring them together and talk to them about relationship. You know, these things they do not tell us when we were small. They try to hide from us, not knowing that even the children know more than the parents, yet they are keeping it. We go there to sensitize them and talk to them about it and also empower them,
Okay,
educate
thank you very
them.
much.
Let me stop there.
Okay, so that's like the broad picture. So I want someone else to now share. What do you think? What are the questions she needs to ask herself? And what are the goals that you think she needs to set? Anybody? I can call anybody if nobody speaks. Not it to know.
Can I try?
Yes, go ahead. We're all going to discuss. Please go ahead.
Okay, I'll just talk about the steps I feel she can start taking. One of the first steps is she should research on if anybody's doing something like that already. Probably at their organizations that are doing something around that. What is lacking in what they are doing? What have they been doing that she can put in something different? That's one. Then also observe how do they go about it such that certain things don't catch her unaware and like, okay, this is what I want to do. Then you now get there and discover that it doesn't work this way. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you. Please go
Okay.
ahead.
Then also I think it's best that she understands that target audience. So how can we reach out to them when we go? Then also build a team. I think for now I want to build a team and sell the vision of the
All
Gracified
right.
Foundation to the team. There's no team
Thank
there.
you very much, Toby. I want someone else. You really mentioned points that are very valid. She has a target audience, yes, but she still needs to do a research to be sure that she's answering a question that is being asked, not just doing something. She's answering a question that is being asked. That's important. Thank you very much. Building a team, you mentioned that as well. So what else? What else? Anybody wants to mention anything? Elizabeth, what else do you think she might need to take into?
Okay, well, just one thing that's coming to my mind for now, because the last person that spoke already mentioned like some of it that I wanted to mention. So I'll just say yes, first of all, like find out the people that are doing what you want to do, and also like I believe it's always nice to get a mentor, even if it's not someone that you can reach out to directly. Sorry for the noise. But maybe an online mentor, someone that is already doing what you like to do, someone that you can see yourself becoming, and learn from them in any way you can. If they have books, read it. If they've done like seminars or something on, I don't know, just reaching out to people, seminars on talking to the teenagers and all that, maybe how to talk to teenagers, how to get across to people, just feed on those materials. So that's what I do. So
Thank you
one
very
thing.
much, Elizabeth. I want one last person to talk before I just give my own idea, and then we'll wrap up this session. Bolu Watife, can you share something?
Bolu was the one that talked earlier.
Okay, there was Benes. Or Anone. Anybody. Even if you are not going to share, just let us know that you are here and say, okay, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I heard you call my name. Let's just know that you're here. Anone Benny Sambolu, anybody?
Okay, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. Just go ahead.
Okay. So there was something that Jola said about goals, and she said your goals have to be measurable, it has to be specific, and yeah, yeah, things like that. So I believe if you're going to, you already know your target audience. Yeah. So I believe you should be also looking at, okay, uh you know, what time do I actually want to do this, like she said, like you have to put a time to it. You can't just say in the next 3 months I'm going to do this. Like when exactly, so that you can prepare ahead of that time. Like set a time. Okay, maybe in the 3 months, let's say you have from maybe June, July, August. Maybe in August I would like to actually, go about this thing I'm doing. But then like the June, July, you should be preparing yourself, doing the things that you can actually do, building your team, getting people around you that actually see the vision with you, just building and also building yourself, mentally, and your skills, your communication skills, how best you can, reach out to these people. And not just even because sometimes you can communicate, you can talk to people, but not really communicate with them, like they won't really get you. So just research, learn, do more of that, and just prepare yourself. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very, very much. So it's important that I like that you reinstated setting smart goals. Don't just say, okay, this is what I want to do. How do you want to do it? So now Grace has shared with us that she wants to have a foundation that is going to cater for young children, children. I think she mentioned young adults, orphanages, then sharing relationship issues with them, discussions. So that's important. So some of the questions you need to ask yourself, you'll be like, okay, when do I want to do this? So you mentioned orphanages. What orphanages, what areas am I looking at? How soon do I need to reach out to them to book a date? What people I'm going to be working with? Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, am I entering into a collaboration? I'm doing this alone. You need to sit with yourself and ask those questions, then put a time to this thing so that you can say, okay, at the end of April, we have the orphanage we are going to, we have about 10 teenagers, or we have about 10 people that we are focusing on. So you are able to put these things in clear terms and they are really measurable. So at the end of 3 months, say in June, you can say, okay, yes, our foundation has been able to visit 2 orphanages. We've been able to reach 20 or 30 or 100 teenagers. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is a vision per time. So let's say now, I'm sure the foundation is something that's going to be for long. That is a part of our purpose. It's a part of our vision. It's a vision for a particular time, which is a part of our entire purpose. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we understand how this thing works, the order, and how we can bring it down to our daily lives and the daily things, the daily activities that we undertake. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm sure that we've learned one or two things. I'm sure that we've been able to get more light onto how we can not just have a broad picture, but really drill down to see how does this affect my daily life, my daily activities. How can I get things done? See, discipline is important. See, everybody wants to be an achiever in life. Everybody wants to succeed. But only those who take the extra step by being disciplined, by being dedicated, building structures. Please build a structure for your life. Don't just live your life to circumstances. There's this thing I always say: happen to life. Don't let life happen to you. Happen to life. Be in control. I mean, God is the one controlling everything. Yes, but I mean, you are still the one. You are the one in charge after God. So please don't live your life to the wind. Take it up for yourself. Write this down. Write it down. I think that's like one thing I wanted to mention earlier. Write down the vision. Write down the goals. Write it down and make it plain where you can always see it. Thank you very much, everyone. It was nice being here.
Thank you, Jola.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Jola. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So I don't know if anyone has questions on how it's going to be done.
I have a question.
All right, please go ahead. It's for the answer. I
Um,
mean, not just me. Please go ahead.
um, sorry. The last thing, one of the last things you said. Now it's about having a life structure, not living your life to chances. So I just want to ask, how exactly do you build? Do you have a life structure? How do you go about having a structure for your life? I know that you can't compare someone who has a life who has a structure for their life to somebody who lives their life to chance. So what's the best way? What are the things to probably do whilst you are looking for a structure for your life, or how do you generally go about having a life structure? Maybe you can
All right,
say
thank
so.
you very much, Bolu. So first of all, I'll say that whatever we do in life is important to have balance. Let me first say that balance, because in setting a structure, you need to also be flexible. That's important to note and be kept aside. So let's talk about structures. Um, so first thing I would encourage to do is to break down your life into different spheres, right? So you have your, let's say, my finances, my academics, my spiritual life, and this and this and this and that. That is what makes up your life. You build your entire everything that makes up your life. And you now begin to say, okay, these are the particular things. So for my finances, these are the particular things I can take. Talk about your savings and spendings. Just really jump. I'm still getting to structures. So drill down to the things that you want to see accomplished in each of those spheres. Do you understand? Okay, so my finances, I want to improve my savings culture. For my social life, I want to have more friends. For my academics, I want to come out with a first class. For my for what again? For my mental, for my health, I want to do checkup at least once a year. All of those things. Now that is the bigger picture. So you now bring it down to your weekly or your daily life. When talking about systems and structures, some people will encourage having daily routines or weekly routines. So you can say that for your daily routine, you have things that you must do in a day. Okay, so some people will say, okay, I wake up by 5 a.m., 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. I have my prayers and I prepare for the day. 8 o'clock, I start work. As a student, you just have like a breakdown of things you do. 8 to 10, I'm actively working. 10 to 10:30, I have my breakfast, and all of those things. You draw what you want to achieve for that particular day. That is a way some people build their own structures. While some of us that want to be flexible can just have a list of things that you must do in a day, which means pray, eat, work, research, read books. That is a way some people can build their own structures. So you can say that for your daily routine, you have
Oops, we lost her, but I want to believe she will come back soon. Okay, I
yes.
guess she's
I'll
back.
allocate time and say, okay, for my Bible reading, that must be in the morning for 30 minutes. Just and I'm saying, I know that I must do that in the morning. I know that when it
Yeah.
comes to reading, I'll most likely do that in the night. Or I might even have time in the afternoon, say 30 minutes. I know that 30 minutes for my day should be for reading. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that
Yes.
because you can have planned like, okay, this is how I want my day to go, and then something really happens and then you're destabilized. No, even as in as much as you're setting a structure, a system in place, be flexible as well. So it's what works for you. So in a week, you can say, okay, in a week, okay, every Saturday I do a review for 1 hour. Do you understand what I'm saying? So just look down into your life, drill down to each sphere of your life, then drill down to each thing you want to achieve per day. Do you understand? And draw a structure around that. I'm not sure if I've been able to help or if anybody else wants to add something to it.
Mm. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I hope you really get it.
Yeah.
But does anybody else have any other question? Over to you, the Gracie Private team.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miss Jola. I am most grateful, and the Great Fight team is grateful as well. Thank you. Okay, Emmanuel, were you raising up your hand? Emmanuel. Okay, Elizabeth is raising up her hand, so I assume she has a question to ask. So over to you, Elizabeth.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Okay, Emmanuel. Elizabeth, I can see your hands are raised. Would you like to say something? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you so much, Jola.
Hello, we can't hear you anymore. I'm not sure if you're saying something.
Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. So I said I wanted to add something to what Miss Jola said, and that was when you notice you are looking at other people. When you notice you're looking at other people, and then you're getting anxious and getting anxious and getting anxious, what do you do?
Okay. Hi, Grace. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
I
I
think
can.
she mentioned a question that what do you do when you're anxious, watching people around you? See, I like to say this. It all begins from with you. We need to start normalizing looking internally more
Like
than
where?
looking externally. Hello.
Yes, like literally everywhere she saw that person posting, she muted the
Hello.
person.
Hello.
So
We lost you for a while. Oh, we did this. I won't tell you. We lost you for a while. Or was I the only one?
No,
Oh,
no.
So please, we want to start telling the story. Please.
is anybody talking now? I just can't hear anything.
No, I
No,
can't
I
hear
can't hear
anything
anything.
too.
So, Jola,
Yeah, can you hear
yeah,
me?
can you hear me? Did you get the question Grace was trying to ask, or was
I
she
think
even the
she's
one
even
asking
doing
the
a
question? Doing a
contribution, not a
contribution, not a
question.
question. Oh, okay, okay.
But okay,
But okay,
while she's trying
while
to
she's
get
trying
back,
to get back,
I would say
I
that.
would say that.
Wait, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes,
we say
but
Yes,
it's
that.
but say that
echoing.
echoing.
What did you say? It's
What did you
echoing,
say? It's
Abby.
echoing, Abby. But it's not
Yeah.
echoing on my end though.
It
Okay,
is
okay. So let
okay.
me
It is
just go
okay.
ahead.
Let me
While
just go
Grace
ahead.
is
While Grace is
getting here to
getting
share
here
our
to
own
share our own
I would say that
I'll say that.
from time to time you will see people doing better than you. Honestly, there will always be people. There will always be people richer. There will always be people smarter in a way. There will people be doing bigger things than you are doing, and there are people that are below you, and that's what we don't always see. You are also ahead of some other people. Do we understand what I'm saying? So you can't always place your own happiness or your own vision or your own life dealings based on what you're seeing other people doing. Funny how sometimes they might not even be doing as well as you think they are doing, or they might have their internal struggle. So you see somebody doing one program or the other, doing this thing, and oh, this person is living a life of purpose, whereas the person has a lot of other struggles that you don't know, and that you're even doing better than the person had. So I think we need to start normalizing, living a life from your internal, from yourself, and not just from the outside. But I'd like to say that sometimes when you see other people, they should encourage you to get better. Do you understand? When you look at someone, you should be able to evaluate, oh, this person is doing this particular thing. How can I be better? How can I be a better version of myself? Not how can I be this person, or how can I be doing what this person is doing? I forget what I'm saying. So when you look at someone doing seemingly better than you should ask yourself how you can be a better version of yourself, and not just how you can copy that person. Do you understand? So seeing other people from that perspective of learning from them helps you to avoid unnecessary anxiety, because you understand that life is in phases, that everybody has their own race to run. I forget what I'm saying. So that's what I would say. Nobody can teach you these things. There are these things are a lot of internal work, because from time to time you see people doing better than you have. So I don't know if anybody has anything else to add. Grace to back.
Yeah. I was going to add to what Jola said. What you said makes so much sense. You have to look internally, and then you have to realize that everybody has their own struggles, have a struggle of their own. But one thing that I've actually been doing, because honestly, like, I feel like some of us at some point, like, we get like that. Like, when you see someone doing better, then you're tempted to want to feel some type of way. But then what I do is I ask myself why, like, why am I feeling this way about this person? And not just, and once I ask myself that, I'm like, okay, am I trying to achieve something similar to what this person is achieving? Is that why I'm feeling like that? Then if my answer is no, I'm not trying to achieve. So immediately, like, I just put off that feeling. I'm not even trying to achieve what you're achieving. So, like, why am I feeling some type of way? Because I feel like some of us, it's not even like about what they're achieving. It's the fact that they're even achieving something. It's the fact that you are hearing their name there, you're hearing their name there, and it's like, oh wow, this person is all over the place. They are doing this. But then you have to understand, like, even if this person is all over, am I trying to achieve what they are trying to achieve? And what Jala said is very important. If you see that maybe it's even similar, although you shouldn't try to be someone else, it should inspire you instead of making you feel some type of way. That thing should actually inspire you, because the truth is, you don't even know. All you see is the glory. You don't see how much work the person has put into becoming that person. So I believe if you can reach out to someone and ask, oh wow, like, I really admire this thing you're doing, I would like to become like this in a way. Ask them, like, what do you do? How do you think I can be better? How do you think I feel like you shouldn't be shy of asking those type of questions. The worst they could do is not to reply you. And the truth is, you don't always need someone to succeed. Like, you can succeed in other ways. Other people would reach out to you too over time. So that's what I do. If I see someone inspiring me, if it's making me feel somehow, I ask myself, why am I feeling like that? If it's not similar, I put that away. But if it is, I try to reach out to the person. I need this, I need that. Like, could you please help me? Like, what can I do to be better? And that thing that Jola said too, it should make you want to be better, not even envying someone or that. So that's just all I'm going to say. So I won't ramble.
Thank you very much. No, thank you very much. You really made a lot of I love your contribution. I was going to say something. So when you notice that, okay, you feel a particular way about somebody's success or somebody's achievement or something, it could help you to reduce your anxiety by yes.
Sorry, do you have two devices connected?
Oh, that could be. But she's not
Okay, can you hear
echoing on
me
my
now?
end.
Yes.
Is it still echoing?
No.
No.
Still echoing over here.
Okay. Is this still echoing at your end too?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes, yes. Everybody's echoing right now.
Okay, wait, maybe you guys should check if you have like it opened severally, like the page. Check if you've opened it up somewhere else, then close
Okay.
it, or maybe just log out then log in again, because it's not echoing on my end.
Okay. I
Can you
guess
hear
it's
me
fine.
now?
Yeah.
Let me just say my contribution so we can move on. I'll say that don't be like she said that we shouldn't be anxious. It will help you to actually speak to the person if you can and say, "Oh, I really admire this thing about you. How do you do it? And what do you understand what I'm saying?" Speaking up helps you avoid resentment that will come from you bottling up and just start feeling bad about yourself. So sometimes speaking up also helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Jola. Thank you so much. So it looks like you guys got a bit of what I was saying. Then you took it off. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was disconnected. So what I wanted to say, literally, you guys are so positive and I love that energy. Was when you notice you're looking at somebody too much, guys, mute the person so you can focus. You know what the person is doing is good. Mute the person and focus on yourself because you will continue. Sometimes we are all different and we take situations differently. The way I would react to something, I'll be expecting somebody else to react to it, and then I'll be surprised when I see the person react another way. When you notice this person is distracting me, this is what I want to do, and yes, this person is doing it. Sometimes you start getting mixed feelings. So what are you doing? Mute the person and focus. What I wanted
Just
to
I have
say
something to
was,
say to that when you're done.
okay, I attended an event, and then the lady I attended with, she was saying something. She said when she noticed a friend of hers was doing a lot of things, especially in Nigeria. And she was like, these are the things she wants to do too. She had to mute not like she was quarreling with the person or anything. They still talked, they were still friends. But personally, she had to mute the person on Instagram and WhatsApp, so she would, and Twitter, so she would stop seeing she would stop seeing things from that person for that moment. And then when she gets herself and she has strategized, she'll come back and she knows she's stronger, so she can focus. There are times when you need to focus and you look at something and you're getting distracted. Well, focus. The major thing is focus and achieve what you are doing and stop getting distracted. But there are also other ways to it. So it's over to you.
All right.
I
Thank
say
you
I
very
want to
much.
ask you a question. Okay, probably after
Okay.
Okay.
it. After I
It's in the
finish speaking.
first. Yeah.
Okay. So as regards that, I want to say something also that life is in phases and men are in sizes. So if you're having someone who in quotes distracts you, it means one, you are healthy and it's absolutely normal. Secondly, it means you are alive and then you are breathing in and out. I mean, obviously, technically, yes. But another thing to it is, so how do I, in quotes, how do I mute a billionaire that I'm seeing every day? It's practically impossible, though it's still possible. But a way you can handle it is you need to find a way to, in quotes, one, understand your value. Just like I said, life is in phases and men are in sizes. I'm not your size. You can't wear my size. You need to understand your uniqueness. You need to understand what fits you perfectly. For example, it is clear that you are not doing what he's doing. That's why he has that result. And one thing that causes all this strife and enmity and what have you is practically is just simply put result. We have different results to show for different things that we put in different places. So you just have to find a way to make sure that you appreciate where the person is, so you would also be appreciated when you get there. Because just like Jola said, you are not where you are. Someone is also envious of you, and you're also envious of another person. It's a long train. I mean, it can't end, it can't stop. Why? Because one, we are humans, we are stubborn, we have coconut head. We know it's a year word. Two, we are still humans because we would not do what we are supposed to do when we are supposed to do with whom we are supposed to do. So it's just a basis of you understanding how life works and understanding your uniqueness practically. Yeah.
Thank you, Itunu. All right, Jola, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's most likely mentioned what I wanted to say about muting. Sometimes that you're able to mute the person because the person is close to you. But I feel like for whatever thing you want to do in life, there are already people that are doing it. They might not just be doing it the exact way or to the same target audience. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't know. Maybe I should. Unless I'm asking the question that okay, what if the person is not even someone like DDK now? DDK is doing a lot of things. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying that DDK should inspire me. I should tune myself to be more inspired rather than I don't know if you're getting my question. Because when I try to forcefully distract myself, I might even miss out on an opportunity. I might miss out on an opportunity that the
Yeah.
person might be sharing. I might miss out on something that might even motivate me to do something in another level. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you should work internally, redirect your feeling to be more motivated and not just anxious. You need to do an internal work because from time to time you will see people that will be doing better things that you can't be muting everybody.
Jola, did
If
you say
how many
internal
people do you
audit?
want to mute? You see somebody doing well financially, mute the person. Somebody doing well in a relationship, posting ring. So I feel like you need to just address yourself internally, redirect your feelings to
Convert the
motivation,
energy
not
to
be
something else.
anxious. That's what I feel.
Can I add something to that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'll just
Thank
like to
you
put it in
very
another
much.
word.
What
When
did you
I
say?
discovered I was actually very
All right.
anxious and envious of people, I realized I was not confident of myself. I had not settled to actually get to discover who I was. And so it was affecting when I feel like I should be doing this thing, but I'm not doing it here. So it was at the point where I got confident and I was able to stay with what God had told me about myself. And I came to realize what process I am right now. I was able to focus on that and I was getting inspired from what I was seeing others do that okay, so by the time you start to put in this work, you get in the result. And most times when we feel like that, it's usually because we are not doing what we are supposed to do. Probably you are supposed to be studying and doing a lot of other things, but you are not seeing yourself doing those things. So that guilt now comes that I'm supposed to be doing this thing, but I'm not doing it. So one way we now direct it is to become envious. The moment we can get ourselves back to doing what we do, there's this self-fulfillment that comes in, and gradually you get to that point. So that's my submission.
Thank you so much, Toby. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, everyone. I'm enjoying this session, and sincerely, I do not want it to end. Elizabeth, please mute. Thank you. All right, so right about now, we have our second speaker for today. He's been here all the while, and he's even in the same room with me. I don't just want to turn my desktop so you can see him, but he's been here all the while. Dr. Abel, let me before I introduce him, let me hype him small. No, I'm not hyping him, it's the fact. Dr. Abel is some student crush. I remember I used to crush on Dr. Abel when I was still in school as a student because
Wait.
stop, it's a new stop. Back then, no, like when you see a doctor, you're like, look
I
at this
don't
small boy,
know.
he's a doctor. It's may God forgive you. But then we have Dr. Abel here, CEO of Akin Bells. He's also a farmer. Like when you go to Dr. Abel's house, when the backyard, you see cow, you see goats, you see sheep, you see ram, you see turkey, you see chicken, you see goose. Yes, he has goose too, and they are very beautiful. So we welcome you, Dr. Abel, right now. He's an amazing personality, a doctor in Bowen University, Department of Sociology program. Back then in our time was department, but now it's program. So welcome, Dr. Abel. Thank you. Welcome, sir. The camera has issues.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Grace. like she said, we're in the same room and we've been in the same room. So I've been a very fantastic audience of all of your conversations and all of your inspiring words and lines and lessons. I truly and sincerely have been blessed. So, and ultimately, too, thank you very much, Jola, Ibukun, is it? Itunu, and Elizabeth, and Ife Christie, and all of the people that participated actively, and those who did a very good job of listening. Thank you very much. So I'd like to, okay, Grace, let me just tease you briefly. You said you confessed some, all right, it's good I'm getting to know. I never knew that all along. And I don't know, maybe that makes butterflies fly, but they are gone. Okay. Now, let's just get back to why we're here. And I'd like to start by saying thank you to Jola. I think I had a lot of things I was able to take down while she was speaking, and I'd like to just maybe quickly run through some of them just before I get started. So I heard Jola say something like, finding purpose has to be an enterprise you do under God. You can only find your purpose if you're in God. So imagine that you want to find purpose and you don't have a relationship with God. It simply means that you're on a wild goose chase, or you are engaging in an exercise in futility. Then she also talked about the fact of underutility. Many of us are like the TV whose manual we never read. So the possibility of underutilizing that television and not using it maximally and optimally is very, very sure. So to what extent have I exhaustively found myself to be able to utilize all of the resources that I carry inside of me? And then I'm inspired by the fact that you have an initiative called a why initiative. And that inspires me. Maybe in the course of my talking, I'll also be hinting on the how initiative, since you run the why initiative. But most importantly, I also listened to your talk on vision and goals, and the fact that about visions, it has to do with what you're able to see today as a potential for your tomorrow. That really strikes a chord, and I'm inspired by it. Now, you also cited instances of biblical figures like Jesus Christ and like Paul, who have famous statements credited to them and to the fact that they had purpose. Jesus, for instance, said in John 4:34 that my meat is to do the will of him who has sent me and to accomplish it. You know, and then Paul said, I have fought the good fight, I have fought the race, I have fought a good fight. And then at a point he said, this one thing I do. Now, these are statements that give us a picture, of course, that these are not mere men. These were men who had discovered purpose, who pursued purpose, and who died based on purpose. And I hope that that leaves us with leaves to borrow from. And then ultimately, before I move into my own talk, I remembered Jola also saying that the Father reveals to you what you have to do. So many times when we get to junctions where we seek to find our purpose, and it looks like the network is gone, or the network is not even present, or the network is fluctuating, it's not a crime to go through that. The best you can do is to rely on the Father, the architect of who you are, and the master of your ship to tell you what it is you need to do. And you have to wait until he shows you, because you can't run. If you do, you'll be like me, who tried to hatch one of my chicken's eggs once before it was 21 days out of curiosity. And then I saw a live chicken and I couldn't sellotape the egg back. I couldn't solder the shell again. And in my heart, I was asking, what did I just do? I just killed a bird that was supposed to live because I was not patient. And many of us are like that too when it comes to our purpose. So thank you very much for those loads of inspiration. I'm asked to talk about maintaining balance. Maintaining balance. So if we're talking about purpose, and we have talked about purpose discovery, and we've talked about the beauty of writing your vision and having a goal, then how do you achieve balance? How do you maintain balance? as far as the journey of purpose finding and purpose discovery is concerned. And those are the things I'd like to talk about today. And as I go on, I hope that you're going to have your curiosities clarified. You're going to be blessed, just like I was blessed from other speakers too. And I pray that God is going to meet your need. I know we have prayed, but I'd like to just say a few words of prayer. And I want you to join me as we open our hearts to God. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this morning. Thank you for the privilege of life that we have and the opportunity of speaking on purpose. Thank you for the Gracified Network and the team that you have used, on whose hearts you've dropped this idea that has now become a reality that has brought us all together. We say, be thou exalted in Jesus' name. Even as I speak on balance and finding balance and maintaining balance, I pray that you shall make me an oracle, take over my lips, grant me utterance, so that I'll be able to strike the very chords that you planted in the hearts of your children. For in Jesus' mighty name I have prayed. Amen. All right. So thank you, Gracified Network. I didn't say that, for the very beautiful opportunity given me to be one of the speakers on this platform. God bless you. And I pray that your assignment, the seed in your hand, is going to blossom evermore in Jesus' name. All right. So balance. What comes to mind when we speak of balance? When you hear the word balance, what comes to mind? Can I have a few responses from our speakers and from our audience and all of us who are online as at the moment? Can I have just some very few and sharp responses? What comes to mind when you hear the word balance? Let's get started that way.
Balance.
Yeah.
When I hear balance,
Okay.
I think of equal weight.
This is Itsuno, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
All right. Equal weight. Thank you very much. So I want to stay with the adjective equal. He's describing weight. He has brought the context of weight and he talked about equality. So it's not just weight. It's not the substance, but something about the substance. In this case, equality, equal weight. Thank you very much, Itunu. I want one or two more comments in regard to balance. What comes to mind when you hear the word balance? Okay. In order to save time, let me just move on. I'm sure we'll have comments and participation as we go on. Balance has to do with a picture I see on my mind, and I want to be as relatable as possible. So I'd use this famous phrase that we're used to: square pegs in round holes. That is imbalance. That is what balance is not. What is balance? We rarely use that phrase, but that's the direct opposite of the word the sentence I just made. That's square pegs in square holes. Now, it's really talked about equality of weights. When weight is equal, it means there is balance. When square pegs are plunged in square holes, it means there is balance. So also round pegs in round holes. And I want to elaborate on square pegs in square holes as we speak of balance in purpose. If you are created, and like Jola said, like the speaker yesterday said, that God has created each of us for a specific purpose, which is justified in the Bible, which is found in the Bible, which is explained in the Bible, it means that we cannot live a balanced life if we have not found that element for which we are created. That's why for which you exist. And so the question I want to ask is, what is your why? Because if we want to speak of balance, we can't speak of balance to someone who has not found his why or her why. Why are you alive? Why are you here? And to answer that question as I begin to speak of balance, I want to talk about what I usually describe in my talk and in a book I have been writing, which by God's grace will be ready very soon. I didn't plan to say this, but I have a theory on life purpose. And one of the things I have stated in that is the property of being. And it can be property singular, it can be properties plural. Your properties of being. Every being has a property with which he or she is created. So for you to understand your purpose, first you have to identify what it is that you are created with, the resources of your creation, the resources ascribed to you, assigned to you, ingrained inside of you upon your creation. So I would like to give an example in talking about the properties of being, which is the key to finding balance. And I'd like to talk about talents. Now, let me illustrate with birds. Birds have certain elements with which they are created. And an example of what a bird has that makes it a bird is its feathers. Now, it's easy to say, but birds, we know birds. Yes, birds fly. But have you ever sat for 1 minute to ask yourself, what makes a bird fly? What makes a bird what it is? It's the feather and the fact that a bird plumages that makes a bird fly. Now, if you don't understand by the use of bird, let me go to the use of fish. A fish is a fish because a fish swims. And why a fish swims is because a fish has gills and fins. Have you ever thought of that? The reason why a fish is what it is, why it swims, is because it has gills and fins. Now, what makes you you? You also have what makes you you, and what makes you you are your properties of being. What you are created with, the resources deposited in you upon your crafting. And that is why I really align with what was said by Jola and the previous speaker, that to find out what you are created to do, the resources God has deposited in you, you have to go back to the manual. The one who created you, the architect of your being, is God. And we cannot speak of finding purpose without finding God, without having a relationship with God. And so the first key to balance in your purpose is to find what I call your properties of being. What are your properties of being? Maybe we speak of a gracified network today because somebody called Grace found a property of being. Maybe not, she may possibly not have even found the rest of the properties, just one property, which she now harnesses to express the gift in her that we now see and know as gracified network. Maybe Ijola found her property of being, so there is a Y initiative. What does Itunu do? Okay, I don't know if we're following, but if you're following me, all I'm trying to say is that each of us has something that distinguishes us from the other, and finding your resources of being, your properties of being, is the first key to finding balance. Is the first key to finding balance. Now, some of us may think, okay, but you're saying properties of being. How does properties of being apply? What does it translate to in everyday life for me as a person? And I want to go as practical as other speakers have also gone. So, what are you created with? We can have examples of music. Music is a word so general, but do you know that in music there can be songwriting, there can be song singing, which is being a soloist. For instance, you can be a praise worship leader, you can be a songwriter, you can be a producer. Now, this is music, but there are different chapters of it, and each of us has a specific deposit in us that aligns with each of this. You could be a writer, you just find that you have an unusual utterance when it comes to writing. You don't even have to struggle. Some people have to learn words, read novels, but you just have this ease of flow when it comes to writing. That is yours. Some people are sculptors. When you speak of Michelangelo of the past, he was born and he found out that property of being, the ability to create images from ordinary objects, to chisel out images from wood, and to make stuff out of ordinary materials. Is that yours? Each of us has a specific deposit in us. Some are born to be on stage to act, to bring inspiration to others through how you express yourself, through how you conduct and carry yourself. We have different personalities. And for us to find each of our properties of being, we need to go back to the manual of the master, the one who created and crafted you into being. That's key one to balance. So find what it is that makes you pump like water. Find what it is that makes the butterfly inside you fly and the song inside of you sing. Find what it is that makes you tick like a clock. When you find those things, then you're beginning to find your properties of being, and you rely on the master to find it. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is there could be a tragedy of being, but the fulfillment of being. How can you find your fulfillment of being? And for you to find your fulfillment of being, which is also central to balance, you need to know this fact. And that fact is that birds don't try to swim, and fishes don't try to fly. I take that again. Birds don't try to swim, fishes don't try to fly. Now, imagine a fish trying to fly and a bird trying to swim. If they try to do what I just mentioned, the end product is going to be nothing less than suffocation. In fact, they may look like they are living for the time being, but just give them minutes, give them moments, give them days. In the case of human beings, give us weeks. If you're a square peg in a round hole, it's just a matter of time. You're going to wear out and your relevance factor will die. And this is why, let me just paraphrase what Jola said a while ago. If you choose to be like someone else, the best you can be is number 2. So why don't you be yourself? That's the question. If you choose to be like someone else, the best you can be is number 2, second hand. Why don't you try to be yourself? A photocopy can never be the same as the original copy. It can only end up being a copy of the copy. A copy of the copy. You cannot be an original copy. Be a script that the world wants to read. Be a song the world wants to listen to. Be a voice the world wants to hear. And that can only happen when you found yourself. Not a second hand, not a copy of the copy, not a second, don't play second fiddle. And that is the second thing I want to talk about. So don't try to be like someone else. Now, the reason why many times we want to be like someone else is because, like the fish, sometimes, imagine a fish, we see beauty in what others are doing and we're attracted to it. But that the sky is glowing today, that the sky is radiant, doesn't mean that the fish becomes a bird. That the sky is shiny doesn't turn a fish into a bird. And that the sea glitters doesn't change a bird into a fish. A fish doesn't begin to feel like flying or develop the ability of flying by merely admiring the sky. And the bird doesn't acquire gills to swim by admiring the glittering water. You have to understand that what you are born to do is what you should spend your life doing. When you look at others, many times, and like one of the participants said a while ago, and as I listened, many times what makes us want to copy other people is when we're not secure in ourselves and in our purpose. And what brings insecurity is when you have not found and understood what you are created to do. In fact, many of us are created to do many things. You have so many gifts and abilities, and I'll come to that later on. But finding your purpose makes you celebrate other people. And this is something I've learned ever since I found my purpose. And maybe as I talk about that, I should not just speak in theory. I've also found that by the grace of God, Grace attested to one of them. I love animals. I realized that very early in life, I had this passion for animals. I had this passion for understanding them to the point I understand the language that some animals speak. Yes, I know when an animal wants something, when a bird wants to lay, when she wants a particular kind of space. I see it. I don't know how I know it. I just know. And I feel that's peculiar with me. It's peculiar to me, and some other person may not have that. Yes. And then there is also the songwriting. I love to write songs, and I love to sing. Then I also realize that I love to speak. And these are things that I feel God has crafted me around and deposited in me. So if you ask me, those are my properties of being. Now, imagine me trying to do what someone else, okay, imagine me trying to be a sculptor. Imagine me trying to do something else other than this tree that's burned like fire inside of me. I'm going to be less than my original. The only reason why I'll be envious and jealous of any other person who probably is acting on stage is when I'm not sure that I have music in me, I have my love for animals and ability to take care of them, and I have my gift of speaking to people. But as I say that, I want you to take note of this because many things are flying in my head. I'm just trying to coordinate myself. When you find your purpose, many times when we find our purpose and we have found what it is that we're born to do, we get distracted. And why we get distracted is when we are not secure inside of the shoes that God has given us to wear. So be comfortable in your skin. Find comfort in the skin that God has given you. Don't try to be like someone else. The next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the space of purpose. That's the next key to balance. Understand your space of purpose, the space for your properties of being. Understand the space. When you have found what it is that you're born to do, what it is that makes you tick, what it is that makes you, what it is that makes the song inside of you sing, understand that space. The space wherein you ought to be. A fish has to live in water. A bird has to live in open air. But beyond that space and beyond just being there, space also means the kind of people that surround you, the company you keep in the journey of purpose. Who are the people around you? And there's a tragedy I have found. Many of us tolerate people because of the need to tolerate them. And the reason why many of us have square pegs in our round holes, why we have eagles in our poultry rather than birds or chickens in our poultry, is because we just want to follow the culture because we're not yet aware what we are crafted for. What is a technician doing with a tailor? That's a question. If you want to be a grand tailor that will produce results, beautiful fashion fabric to the world, what you need is fellow tailors. Imagine Usain Bolt trying to work with, what's the name of this famous Yoruba actress? That's right, Jennifer's Diary, good Jennifer. Imagine Usain Bolt having a Jennifer. Is it even thinkable? It doesn't sit in my head. What would he do with her? He just says, no, because she's pleasant. I love the way she entertains people. He now brings her on board. He's already declaring ruin on himself. But imagine Tyson Gay with Usain Bolt. Imagine who else is an athlete that runs sprints. We have several of them, and he brings them into his team, the Jamaican team. What we have is going to be a very huge success on track. Get like minds. And I noticed that one of the speakers also talked about that. Make sure you take care of your team. There must be balance in your team. A fish will fly with fellow fish and at best with fellow aquatics. They may not have to be the same with you, but they can share an environment with you. But as you live in that habitat, as you mind our space, beware of predators. Within the aquatic space, there can be sharks that will consume other fish. Beware of them. And that is why Jack Canfield once said, and I quote, "In the journey of purpose, learn to remove toxic people from your circle or remove yourself from a toxic circle." Remove toxic people from your circle or remove yourself from a toxic circle. Otherwise, you delay yourself from reaching the destiny of your purpose. You slow down your journey that should have been long achieved. And that's one of the things you also have to understand as far as space of purpose is concerned. The next thing I want to talk about is what I call the axe theory. Now, my axe theory I didn't get from anywhere. I got it from the Bible, and I got it from Ecclesiastes 14:14. I hope I'm right. And what we have in Ecclesiastes 14:14 is, when the mouth of the axe is dull, much energy is required. I take that again. When the mouth of the axe is dull, much energy is required. So you have your gift, you found your properties of being, you have aligned yourself within the space of being, you are with the right people. Is that all there is to purpose and balance in purpose? One of the things that gives you balance in purpose is your ability to be able to chisel your axe, sharpen your axe. Because two people may have this axe at hand, yet one is going to fell more trees than the other. If my axe, the mouth of my axe is dull, I may spend 6 hours felling trees that should have taken me 1 hour to fell. So imagine me running through life with an axe that is not chiseled and that is not sharpened. I will need much energy to fell few trees. But imagine that I spend 6 hours and we all have 8 hours. Two of us have 8 hours to fell trees. My friend whose axe was not chiseled or sharpened started felling straight away with a very blunt axe or blunt mounted axe. And I decided to spend 5 hours chiseling my axe. Do you know that I'm going to fell more trees than that friend who started who started felling 6 hours ago? Why? Because I paid attention to what is important. What do I mean? Many of us, with all our giftings, with our properties of being, are like the raw axe, the blunt axe. We're born that way, and that's why God had a space for this verse in the Bible. All of us are like raw materials. We have to produce ourselves by honing, by training, by fanning your gift into flame, to be able to become a sharp axe that will be able to fell trees. And felling trees here means making impact, adding value to lives. Imagine if I'm a great speaker and I've not read books on public speaking, I've not read books by Dale Carnegie on how to express yourself, find yourself, understand your audience. You might be an orator and you put people off because you don't understand the art of connecting psychologically with your audience. Where do you get that from? You have to drink from other wells. The advantage a dwarf has over a giant is that a dwarf can stand on the giant's shoulder to see what the giant himself cannot see. All of us need to be dwarfs in our fields that will have the courage to mount on the giant's shoulder to be able to see what these giants have not even been able to see. So if you think you found your properties of being, it's not enough. If you think you found your talents and your abilities, that is not enough. One extra thing you need is to be able to hone them into finished goods, because at best, what we all carry in us as we speak are raw materials. And to move from the zone of purpose finding to purpose expression, we need to hone our skills. We need to hone our gift. So if yours is singing, hone your singing. If yours is songwriting, hone it. Bring it to the market. Let others criticize it, and then get back to your drawing board to produce something superior to the previous inferior that you had produced. These things are important if there's going to be balance in the life or in the journey of someone who is in search of purpose discovery or who is in search of purpose. And I hope that we got that. All right. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, to achieve balance, you also need to understand the timing of being. Your timing of being. Each of us has a time allotted to us. And I want to speak in respect to time from two frameworks, from two lenses, from two perspectives. The first is seeing time in terms of limits, the limit of time or the boundary of time. Then the second, seeing time as a phase, P-H-A-S-E. The timing of my purpose is different from the timing of someone else's purpose. Now, what I mean by time as limits is this. You know what Ecclesiastes 3 talks about? Don't mind me, I keep referring to Ecclesiastes. It's one of my best books of the Bible. Ecclesiastes 3 talks about time. A time to born, a time to die, a time for this and a time for that. It means that there is the morning. What I sum up in that passage is there's the morning of life, there's the evening of life. All of our purposes have their timings. You miss the timing, then you might not do very well. But there's always a consolation. But I want us to all understand that there is timing, and the earlier you find your purpose, the better for you. That's important. So there's timing. So urgency is important. Intentionality about discovering oneself is important. It's not a fault if you don't know what your purpose is, so that you don't feel I'm condemning you, perhaps by how I sound. But this whole program is designed for all of us, if we have not found our purpose, to find them. And that you have not found it is not a guilt or a crime. But staying this way without making conscious effort will be the crime. So today you are reminded of the need to wake up to pursue what your purpose is, whatever it is that God has deposited in you. When we speak of time as space, I'm talking about the difference in our moment of announcement. When I say moment of announcement, I'm talking about Joseph had a moment of announcement in the palace. But if you read that passage very well, just when Joseph got into prison, the very next passage after that said his brothers were getting married. It's like life kept going on. While they were moving up, Joseph was going down. But I heard from a friend that I read from once that sometimes God's way up is down. Sometimes God's way up is down. Sometimes in my time of being, God can take me through unconventional roads that make it look like I'm going backward. When in fact, God is trying to specially create a circumstance of glory for me and for you. So you don't look like it, yet God had told you, yet you have found it, yet you are sure I know my properties of being, yet it's not looking like it. And you know that you're working, you've done the job of honing your skills, finding your gift to flame. You have been building yourself, reading materials, exposing yourself to people who have gone the bridge before in your field, yet you're still here. Now, one way to illustrate what I mean by time and space, your timing of being, is to look at what happens to ducks versus chickens. Do you know that both of them have something in common? What do they have in common? Both of them are birds. Both of them have feathers. Both of them lay. But guess what? Moments of incubation between these two are different. The chicken needs only 21 days to hatch, but the duck needs between 32 and 33 days to hatch. Birds, as they are, they have different timings of being. Mango and orange are fruits, but they come in different seasons. All of them are beings, but their moments of announcement, their moments of manifestation, and when you don't understand the principle of timing of being, you lose balance. You lack balance. So to have balance, you need to understand. Balance in your purpose, you need to understand and accept your timing of being. The time of Nike is different from the time of Wali. The time of Shegun is different from the time of Joshua, Emeka, Rosalind, Juliana, and the rest of us. Find out your own time. And you may not know it. Just keep unfolding. Keep incubating. Keep brooding. Make sure you're doing what you have to do. And make sure your eggs are fertile. Don't just keep brooding. Be sure that this is what be sure it's your property of being. That's what I mean by make sure your egg is fertile. What you're investing energy on must have been your property of being. Don't go and copy someone else's property and be developing it. You just end up wasting energy. So you have to understand your timing of being. When you understand your timing of being, then you're closer to finding purpose and being happy and staying happy. Then you don't need to compare yourself with others. You don't need to get hurt. In fact, something I've told myself, and I want you to learn from this if you are not already doing that, is when you see others succeeding and your moment has not come, please learn to say congratulations to them, not on your lips, from your heart. Say congratulations to them because the moment of your announcement comes. It's just a matter of time. Their eggs might be the chicken eggs that take only 21 days and yours might require 32 days. And guess what? The later your incubation period, the bigger your destiny and your purpose, the bigger the substance in your purpose. Imagine the elephant takes years, the cow and the calf takes months to be produced, yet the chicken just takes days. The size determines how long you stay in the incubation. So if you don't know your size and you feel I'm still here, others have been picked from the markets of life, I'm still here, others have been announced, others have their job, your purpose has its time. Just stay on it. Keep incubating. Make sure it's fertile. And when it's time for you to hatch, you're going to hatch. Don't hatch prematurely. That's another thing to the timing of being. And that's the caveat and caution I want to give. Make sure you don't hatch before your time. And make sure you don't come later than your time. Be vigilant. Be conscious of time. And I pray that God is going to help you and help us all to be what we're born to be. The timing of being, much as I have many things to say, I just wish to say that these things are important for achieving balance if you're going to find your purpose. And I'm happy that I have the privilege to speak to all of us on this platform today on finding your purpose and achieving or maintaining balance in your purpose. I've spoken about your properties of being. I've spoken about the need to avoid the tragedy of being. Don't be a bird trying to swim and don't be a fish trying to fly. I've talking about the space of being. Understand your space of being if you're going to achieve balance in your life. I've talked about the axe theory, the need to sharpen your axe so that you don't spend time waiting for nothing that is going to happen or spending so much energy when very little energy can be spent. Take time to train yourself, expose yourself to conferences, find out who has succeeded in my field before so that I can do better. A word from a mentor, a word from someone who is going to guide you, fellow sportsmen, can just push you forward. Align yourself with the right people. Don't equate yourself with the wrong people. Don't delay in removing toxic people from your circle. Understand the time of your being. Don't delay yourself from arriving, and then don't come late, and don't hatch prematurely. And when you do all of this, you're not going to be far from balance, achieving balance or maintaining balance in your journey of purpose. I have many things to say, like I said earlier, but just something I'll say as I close is that I noticed that from the platform and from the comments that people wrote when they were showing interest in participating in this program, much of what they said had to do with how do I find my purpose? How do I find my purpose? And I'm tempted to just hint. I hope I'm permitted to do that. Some things, a hint I may just leave, or a few hints I may just leave is learn to be attentive. By attentive, I mean pay attention to what people usually say about your strengths, not those who flatter you. I mean, people who are honest and genuine about you. You may not know your purpose, but people just tell you, hey, do you realize you do this very easily? Do you notice that whenever you come, we swear to do this, but you do it with profound ease? How do you get to do it? How do you achieve results so fast? That might just be your area of purpose, something having to do with achieving purpose. It might be your talent, it might be your gift, it might be your skill that you may not have known. What do you spend so much time doing? I don't mean the meaningless stuff you do. Don't tell me you watch movies. Don't tell me you sleep. The areas of talent that you feel, your abilities that require time, that take a lot of time, and you don't even feel hungry when you devote such time. Something that takes a lot of time and you still feel so passionate and passionately involved that you don't want to stop doing it. Ask yourself these questions. Then the next thing is cultivate the habit of offering up. Offering up. What do I mean by offering up? Make yourself available to serve, even in areas you don't know you're gifted in. That way, you might just land in the area of purpose, in your area of alignment, in your properties of being. Joseph was doing that. He had a dream many years ago, but you know what he was doing in prison? Even when he was waiting, which many of us are experiencing now, he was offering up himself. How can I help? How can I help? But he could help only with the abilities he sensed he had, the ability to interpret dreams. So you may not know what your purpose, your destiny, your area of impact eventually will be. But there's an ability you sense you carry inside of you. Can you spend it to meet needs around you for now? The more you spend time meeting needs based on the abilities you carry, the more you get close to discovering your fuller purpose. And that's the principle of offering up yourself. And for me, when you tread this path, you're not going to be far from finding purpose, from discovering purpose, and from attaining balance and maintaining balance in your journey of purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really thrilled to have spoken to us this afternoon. I'm flattered and inspired by your presence. I'm grateful for the honor of having to speak on this platform. And my ultimate desire from deep within is that God is going to truly inspire all of us to find our purpose. Imagine a world when all of us find our purpose. It's going to be a whole new place. Zuckerberg found his, we have Facebook, and all of the people found theirs, and our world is changing because of what they are producing. Imagine if all of us find our purpose under God to make impact and to add value. And I leave you with this. No matter how great your properties of being are, no matter how beautiful, how many your gifts are, one way to live fulfilled is to ask yourself, how does this add value to God's kingdom? It's not just about finding purpose. It's not just about achieving balance. I'm saying that the highest form of balance is the balance we achieve when we've been able to tie value to the purpose that we found, that we carry inside of us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. God bless you. I wish you well. And thank you, Gracified Network, for the opportunity given me to speak on this topic today. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much,
sir.
sir. Sorry about the echo. Thank you very much, sir. We are most grateful, and I picked a lot of things. But before I start talking, let's give our audience time to talk. Do we have anything to say? I know there's somebody on YouTube watching presently. So if you have a question, you can just drop it in the live chat. It's to know. Ike Oluwa, let me say, I'm sorry if I'm spoiling your name or butchering it. Benis Jola Bolu, another Elizabeth and Oluwa. Do we have anything we want to say? We want to add to what Dr. Abel has said right now. Question. I called everybody's name. Please don't go mute on me.
Hello, Grace. Yeah, hello, Grace. Can you hear me?
Sorry. Question. Okay.
Good afternoon. Abishe morning, Latesh.
Yes, I hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Bolu.
All right. So I was just going to say something. It came to mind when Dr. Abel was saying something, and then I just realized that another thing that that would help us in finding purpose and finding balance is when you learn to shut out a lot of noise. You know, there are so many noises around that distract us from finding that one thing that God has created us for. And then we should learn to introspect. What do I mean? I'm trying to say that we should learn to check inwards other than allowing the things around us to define that one thing God has created us for. So I think one way, another thing that can help us is learn to introspect more. When you check into yourself more, and you don't, because somebody's doing something, and then you're like, I think this is what this thing is, this is what I think God is calling me to do. Introspect and be sure of what it is that God is telling you that He has created you for. But then again, my question is, I've talked about purpose. Is there a difference between passion and purpose? Because I think one of the things they have sold to us is what you have passion to do might be your purpose. Is there a difference? Is there where we draw? Is there a place where we draw the line between passion and purpose, or are we saying automatically the thing you have passion for, is your purpose? Did you get my question?
Yes, I got your question. So, Dr. Abel, over to you.
All right. Thank you for the question, and I'm inspired by the fact that you asked, and I hope that that is possibly not going on other people's minds too. But just to clarify the question and the difference between passion and purpose, I'd like you to see purpose as essence, while you see passion as vehicle.
Okay.
Now, where am I? I'm joining to Abuja. How passion is one of the measures of the how I'm to achieve my dream, to achieve or fulfill purpose in life. It's a how. You know, the purpose is the what I am here for. Now, if you're going to impact life, you can be passionate about speaking. Okay, for me, for instance, one of the things that came to me, and I want to provide a clarification for the two concepts by using this example and by using myself. I realized I was passionate about speaking, and at a point I had to go on the rocks of and the hills of Jos to speak to stones and to rocks, and I delivered speeches to invisible faces, and I was just giving speeches, and I'll look around, who is there, who is not there. But I realized I was passionate, and God called my attention one day to, okay, you love to speak. What exactly are you going to be speaking on? What exactly are you going to be speaking about? That is where purpose comes in. And I realized that God has called me. Good, your purpose is going to be your calling, not your passion. You can be passionate about speaking about this and that and about other skills and giftings and all. But your purpose is what you are called to do in life. What value you are called to add to the world, to people around, you know. And I found out that mine is to help young people find who they are. Help young people find who they are. And that is a purpose I spend my love for singing, my love for speaking, my passion for animals achieving. Today you heard me talk about purpose. I cited lots of illustration from the animal world. That's me using the wisdom from my passion to achieve purpose. I decided to speak. That's me using my passion to speak to achieve purpose today. And then in the songs I write too, I also do the same. So there might be other additional comments or views on it, and I'm sure they are welcome, but this is just a brief comment I have about clarifying the difference between purpose and your passion. You can actually be passionate about your purpose too, but I feel passion in this context means the things that are in the context I used refer to the things that you are gifted, that you have interest in doing, you know, interest in, yes, passion about. They are your talents, gifts, and all. Then the calling that you're supposed to effect and through which you're supposed to add value is your purpose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, Itunu, you wanted to say something, or you wanted to ask a question?
Yes. Yes, I wanted to actually say something, say a few things.
All right.
Dr. Abel, I mean, like you did a really great. I can't call this presentation. I can't call this word. It was great, right? It was great. It was great, really. So my contribution to this, I think I once read a quote somewhere that says it says, let me see, can I remember? Yes, I can remember. Yes, when a woman of purpose meets a man of prayer slash, I want to interchange it because it's saying women, so I will not be like a feminist. When a man of purpose meets a woman of prayer, it means there is going to become more like an explosion of destiny. And the scripture that Dr. Abel pointed us to, I think there's also something similar, Ecclesiastes 10:10. Usually dull axe requires great strength. So sharpen the blade, which is the value of wisdom, and it helps you succeed. I think most of the time the questions on we youths, our mind is, how can I find purpose? How can I do this? How can I do that? How can I get my goals? How can I get my vision? There are actually people who already laid these facts down and gives us a clearer picture to what you can hold on to and would how do I put this now? And you can find something at the end. The Bible says that word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. If you hear the word, it means it will direct you to somewhere. There is an end result. You would find either someone or something at the end. So all you need to do is keep following the word along that part. I think, okay, before I jump into my tomorrow's topic, let me just stop here because there's actually going to be a lot. If you're asking for a location on where exactly it is, actually it's plain there. It's just that we are not seeing. We are not seeing well. Let me put it that way. My own definition for vision is how do I put this now? Let me see. Let me make. I'm trying to break down the English. Okay. Vision is seeing but not sight. Or let me find a way to make it easy. Yes,
So
okay. Let me put it this way. Yeah, sorry, I think maybe network is doing something. Vision is what you can see, but it's beyond sight, meaning everybody sees something. And there's a popular saying if you see with only your eyes, then you are practically blind. In fact, you are most likely the blindest person on earth. If you see only with your eyes, you should see with your mind. So it will give you a picture of what exactly you are looking for. Then someone also says something that you don't see what is there, you see what you're looking for. And then they played out a research and then they played out a scenario on different people casting their eyes on a particular image, but they found what they were looking for, not what was there. If we look within, just like Jola said, the answer you have is within. All the answers we have is within. So yes, that's my contribution.
thank you so much. It's a new. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Is there any other person that has something he or she wants to contribute or a question you want to ask Dr. Abel? All right, Anone, I can see you're raising your hand. Anone, okay, maybe that was a mistake, I guess. Bolu, is that something you want to say? Bolu Atife. Bolu Atife. All right. So we're going to continue. We're going. That's. I really don't know what to say. There's a lot I want to say. Elizabeth, do you have something you want to say? All right. Let me just say some key points or highlight some key things I picked when Dr. Abel was talking. And number one is find your uniqueness. Or just find that uniqueness. Like he answered rightly, your passion, your passion and your purpose, they work hand in hand. So if you're having passion for the wrong thing, you definitely assume you are seeing the right purpose. Just like I told Jola, it's literally that you're seeing upside down. You say that's your purpose, but literally that's not your purpose. I don't know how many of us have heard this Lawrence Oyon song. Some people are walking up, I mean, some people are translating the Bible upside down, stuff, something like that. So if you do not if you do not have passion for that thing that is inbuilt, and then you come up with something else, you know, the funniest part, there are some principles in life, I mean, there are some principles of life that work. So whether you are doing the right thing or not, whether you are how do I put it? Whether you are in your purpose path or not, as far as you are hardworking, sometimes it actually works because there are some principles that say for somebody who is hardworking, for someone who works like the ants, he will not go hungry. So you think you are doing well, while in the real sense of it, that is not what God wants you to do at all. Like you're not even in that path at all. So we need to really know, as much as we're having passion, we're having purpose. If you notice when Dr. Eva was talking, he was saying, when I saw this, when I discovered that this was what I had passion for, God also spoke to me. So like Onome said, it was a confirmation from God that, okay, yes, this is what I am supposed to do. Not that, yes, you're having a passion, this is what you want, you are passionate about something, and then you're not getting any backings. And I remember when I was Jola asked a question earlier about what's one thing we learned from what Onome said. I said most of us were waiting for prophets, we're waiting for big men of God to come and tell us this is what your purpose is, this is what you are supposed to do, without realizing that no, that is not how it goes. You get a conviction from God, you get confirmation through the word of God, you get confirmation through somebody, you get confirmation through his prophet. So all those people that are coming, they're coming to give you a confirmation. I remember something happened of late in my life, and somebody said they had a dream about me. And then when the person came and told me, when the person came and told me this was the dream, it was just more like a confirmation of what God had told me 5 years ago. And in my head, I'm like, so is it that this is the time this is supposed to come into existence? Because I'd already seen this already. I'd already seen this. I already knew this was going to happen. But that was a confirmation. And funny enough, it was a very big man of God that I respected. So guys, know your passion. Don't just know your passion, but get a confirmation from God with everything you want to do, every step you want to take. As much as you know this is what you want to do, get a confirmation. Don't just go into anything without not getting a word from God. Yes, you feel this is what you're supposed to do. Let it be that yes, you got a word from God. So when things are not going well, when the road is looking rough, you can go back and say, God, you said this, you said you were not going to leave me, and I know He's going to be with us. So we're supposed to end like 10 minutes ago, and it's already 11:39, so we're going to be stopping here. Thank you very much for staying till the end. I hope you enjoyed this. So I'm going to be calling each of us because I really want to see our faces. I think nobody put on their video today. Elizabeth, can you put on your video? Let's see your face. BC, hello. Ade BC, please can you put on your video? Let's see your face. Emmanuel, hi. Dennis, hello. Okay, Jola, I don't know if it's possible for us to see your face now, but just put on your video, please. Elizabeth, we're waiting for you. Hello, Dennis. Oh, yes. Thank you, Manuel. At least I feel I'm not talking to myself. Thank you. Please unmute yourself. Let's interact shortly before we all leave.
Hello.
Hello, Emmanuel. Thank you for attending. Although you came late, but I've sent the link of.
My network is very bad, so I had to leave the
Yeah, I
house.
thought as much. Sorry about that. But the link of the live stream live streamed video is on the group chat, so we could literally, or we could always watch it from there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jola. Thank you, Dr. Abel. Thank you, Elizabeth. Ike, thank you so much, and have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anone, thank you. Thank you. Meeting is over. Bye bye. Let us go. You don't want to go. Okay, that's good. That's all right. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to be stopping